Hey everyone, I'm Ian Douglas, the author of the website techinterview.guide. I do live streams every Sunday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern about topics relevant to interview preparation for the tech industry. I occasionally record longer Q&A sessions, and I've started to break those into smaller videos to post. And there'll be information at the end of this video about how to get in contact with me if you have additional questions. Let's get to it. Someone else asked, should I still expect a response, positive or negative, despite my poor performance in a interview test that I did 3 weeks ago from a tech startup? I would say if it's been 3 weeks and you haven't heard anything from them, I would probably follow up one time and just say, hey, I'm looking for some feedback. But if you know that you had poor performance and it's been 3 weeks and you haven't heard anything, I would probably take that as a negative. But I would still want to find out just for my own satisfaction of like, okay, I'm just calling to make sure that I didn't get that job. I wouldn't word it that way. I would send them an email and say, hey, I'm still really interested in the company. I know that my performance on that last interview wasn't my best, but I'm still really interested in what's happening with the company, and I'm just curious about getting some feedback. You can always ask them for feedback. They may not give you any, but you can still ask them. I would say whenever you ask for feedback, if it's the first time you're asking for feedback, wait a couple of days. And if you don't get a response, send one more email asking for that feedback. And if you don't hear anything from that, usually that second email will make them think like, oh, shoot, I meant to send that email to Ian and I procrastinated or something. So I'm going to send it right now. You're more likely to get a response from that second email. Not always. If they also continue to ignore that one, if there's someone else that you've been networking with at the company, try reaching out to them and say, hey, I've been trying to get a hold of Ian at the company to get some feedback. I haven't had any response. I've emailed a couple of times. I've waited several days each time, not getting any response. Could you go ask them what's up? That kind of thing is totally okay to do with somebody else. If you've been networking and done outreach to someone else at the company, you can always ask them, hey, can you go follow up with this other person? Because I really want to get some feedback. But if it's been several weeks and you haven't heard anything and you know it didn't go well, I mean, it would be nice to just get some closure on it and say, no, you didn't get the job. But you won't really know unless you ask. And I know some people that are like, bug them till they tell you to go away. And that can be fine too. So just ask them for that feedback. I would say don't just sit back and expect that a company is going to reach out to you. They're busy, if they've made offers, they might be waiting for someone to respond to an offer, that kind of thing. And so there may be scenarios where they're so swamped with things that they're just not proactively sending feedback out to people. But you can always ask them and say, hey, I interviewed a couple of weeks ago. I'd really like some feedback. And they're more likely to send that if you request it. Hey, thanks for watching. I love helping people out with interview prep, and I hope this video helped you in some way. If you found this Q&A useful, please consider subscribing. You can follow me on Twitch as well for the live stream twice a week. Check out techinterview.guide/streaming for more information. I also have a daily email series that you can subscribe to on the website. There are never any ads, and when you finish the series, I scrub your information out of my database permanently. Finally, if you have a question that you'd like answered on the stream, you can find my contact info on techinterview.guide. I prefer LinkedIn or email. If you leave your question in a YouTube comment, it might take me longer to find it, but I'll see you next time.